Hello, good morning, good evening. I hope you're well. Thanks for listening. This is a medical cannabis show, and I respect the law, and I hope you do as well. It's an open topic, so I'm not going to talk about anything that I've prepared really today. I hope you've got some good questions that we can go through and make a bit of a show out of. G'day, look, there's Dave 969. How you going, Dave? Hope you're doing well, mate. Everybody else out there listening. So yeah, there's not much I've prepared again, similar to last week, and last week didn't go too bad. So I'm going to try this new open topic style thing and just see what questions come about. See how that makes the show for the next couple of months, because it's been a bit time consuming me getting all the news and the latest studies and stuff like that. It's just all adds up. Interesting. My internet went down, eh? Let's just do a little test here while I wait for people to come in. Speed test. And you'll go, wow, that's a pretty good internet connection. But hang on, it's just gone down. Oh, wonder why. Who blooming knows? There we go. That's not bad. 100 and... Yeah, I'll just share the screen, show you. Why not? Up to this one. Where's the share screen? So yeah, sorry for that. Somehow it went down. Don't know why. Because look at my internet connection. 180 download megabytes per second and 24 upload. Oh, but it goes down every 5 minutes or so. Huh. That's that little article I had prepared about the only thing for today. And I see Lene's rocked up. Hello, Lene. Nice to see you. How you going? Yeah, it went silent. Yeah, I just saw it spinning on my screen. And I thought, what? My internet connection's gone down. Let's just have a little bit of a look here. Started looking. Yeah. 180 megabytes per second. So, all right. Well, I'll share the only thing that I have got really prepared. Luckily, I've got something. I should probably get one thing at least prepared each week. So at least I can talk about one thing. And the only thing I got is this. So I found this pretty interesting through the week, that medical cannabis now can be in these little asthma inhalers. I used to have one for my bronchitis when I was younger. A Brix. It's called Brix. But yeah, it's just a new way to get it in. And apparently it's regulated doses, as you could see. So they're not too... I'm not going to talk much. I don't have much experience with it. So there's 5 other little inhalers, they're called. So that's not a bad amount. 1,000 milligrams for 100 hits. So that means each hit is 10 milligrams. So if I was used to getting, and that's on the tongue, so that's actually absorbed. So if I was used to getting, oh gosh, I don't know, 50, I'd add 5 squirts, and that would be good out of 100. So that's 20 times that. Hits, about the same, 1 to 2 milligram of terpenes as well. Supplements should be. Inhalers, a new, healthier consuming method. I don't know, healthier, but it's a fantastic way where it's odorless for people around you and that. So you could do it like indoors. You carry one on you all the time in your top pocket. Feeling a bit stressed out, bang. So I reckon they're convenient is the word I would have put in for that. So yeah, that's pretty rad. There's my share for today. Hey, Nick Kelly. Afternoon. How you going, mate? Nice to see you. Hey, Sunshine Rainbows. How you going, Sunshine Rainbows? How are you? Nice to see you, mate. Hey, if there's any questions, please put some questions out so we can have a bit of a discussion. That would be good. Because otherwise, I don't know what really to talk about. And he says, I can't wait to try one of those inhalers. Yes. That'd be cool. I had a look in Canada and they were $30. So one of those things with $30, that's going to get you 110 milligram hits. So I reckon it'd be rad just to have more so for convenience. They're good, not going to stink or anything. Well, I find it hard to talk. What can I'll at least give it 10 minutes. It's been 6.5. So I'll go to 10. See what else I can talk about for a few minutes, just in case. To keep things. I'm paused again. It has. Oh, wow. See? Great, isn't it? But yet, megabytes are... anyway. Righto. What else can I put up here? What's this thing? This is just something that I had just handy. Can't really... Can I zoom in? I hope I can. I can't zoom in. That would have been pretty interesting. That looks like it's a... Oh, there's the THC, the different THC versions, the Varanol and the Orsinol, THCO and THCV. Just how they get into their molecules through heat, light, and oxidation exposure. Oh, naming convention. I can't zoom in. Oh, well. Today just wasn't one of those shows, eh? Phytocannabinoids. Yeah, see how they've got to put phytocannabinoids now because cannabinoids is your synthetic ones. So the phytocannabinoids are considered classic. And these are the compounds that are ubiquitous to all varieties of cannabis. This series is not only the most widely studied in literature. Oh, right, very good. I can't zoom in. Let's go on to the different cool pathways and how they evolve. I'm not sure that exit full screen. There it is. Am I sharing? Oh, okay, it's like that. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Froze again, yep. Sorry about that. And Kelly says, I asked Fumi about medical cannabis and driving. Apparently, it's frowned upon. Yeah. Unless you're in Tasmania or the government in Australia, they're trying to, remember Queensland a while ago, they were taking bids on allowed. Victoria had something similar, but Tasmania's allowed it. Yeah. Apparently it's frowned upon. Yeah, it's the law, I suppose. Not much you can do about that. But you can in Australia at the moment. They're taking all sorts of admissions and submissions from people in Parliament about cannabis and medical cannabis, which is good. So the Greens website and the Legalise Cannabis Australia Party website, those two websites you can go on, you can write in and support it and do all sorts like that. Because, yeah, if you're in another state outside of Tasmania and have it in your system, like if you smoked before you went to work and then you got pulled over for a roadside test, an hour or so later, you'd probably be in a fair bit of trouble. So talked a bit about that last week, actually. It was one of the fellas in Australia. He actually did get caught, and it was medical cannabis. And what did he get? He got lost his license for 6 months in Australia and $350 fine. And that was exactly the same fine as a young fella who has been caught 2 times already for just unlicensed driving from doing things wrong. And his was medical cannabis. So it's a pretty amazingly sad story. It just shows you just Australia, you know, how they're progressing. That's why I don't get into the politics, because you beat your head against the bloody wall. What I do? Hey, look out, there's 420 Fred. There you go, 420 Fred. Nice to see you. Standard. There you go. Oh, here we go. Sunshine Rainbows. Can you talk about secondary metabolites and senescence, please? Holy mackerel. Just secondary metabolites is a massive, massive thing. Well, secondary metabolites is what you want to activate, because that's the medicine. Because once you produce those pathways, they start producing different terpenes and flavonoids, and enhances the THC and CBD or CBG and all those other cannabinoids. It's stored in the edioles, vacuoles, dermal tissue, the trichomes, in heaps of different spots in the plant material that's so valuable as medicine. And to stimulate that, all right, let's go into this a little bit. So that's the question. I should probably just leave that up. Or let me know if you want me to take your question down. I haven't pulled this section up yet, though. Shit. Secondary metabolites. You just want to, just in general. Well, how to activate them. So everybody wants to get more on their product, and that means you're going to get more medicine. So this is the pathway to activate them. Why is it so slow? I just tried to pull up a photo then. Anyway, so to form trichomes, is jasmonic acid is a very good way to get it happening, and then it goes through the COL1 or the J1 pathway, then the MIB75, the GL7, and then you got your initiation. And depends how it was formed. If it was through defense, if it was so stimulated like by an insect, it might go into defense. But if it was stimulated by manually or light, oh geez whiz. Well, an insect, it goes into defense, and then it can go into another pathway if it's stimulated differently. That's the easiest way to say without putting myself in, and I'll go and form the terpenes. So, and that's what you really want. And then the defense against the herbivores is produced. So that's why the plants will do it initially to defend themselves, but we want it as medicine. This senescence nut. Hang on. I'll just stop sharing. Not stop sharing. I'll get back to it. Present. I pressed the wrong thing. So yeah, that's how to form them and how to I'll get into actually a bit more detail on how to form them. Terpenes. Where's that other one? In plant science. I did a course called Plant Cell Science, and it was told you exactly how to form them. All right, let's go there then. Why is it just saying that? Why doesn't he bloom and show us? Because I haven't got, it's a bit hard to find that. These are all the courses that I've studied. Plant Cell Science. Help me, everybody. No. Plant Cell Bioprocessing, yes. What was the question again? It's on the screen. Can you talk about secondary metabolites? Sure can. So I've talked a little bit, so let's go into how they're formed. And this goes into a really rad way on how they're formed in the way of hormones. Because you can use, synthetically, you can do it yourself. You can stimulate them through jasmonic acid or salicylic acid. So the plant secondary metabolites, it can be divided into 3 chemically distinct groups: your terpenes, your phenolics, and your nitrogen-containing compounds. And the ones we really want is in the top 2. And here's another pathway to have them produced. So once the sun comes in and it photosynthesizes, it produces your primary metabolism. Then it'll go through on your secondary metabolism. Then it'll go through and produce phenolics, and down, right down to end result, which is your flavons or flavonols, tannins. That's in phenolics. Terpenes, well, they're the constituent that smells, and actually probably not all of them smell, but in general, and they've got all the anti-properties. I'm not going to go into them. That's all I'm going to skim on them. The phenolic group is the next one, and there's up to 10,000 individual compounds of the phenolic group. There's carotenoids, flavonoids, flavonols, flavins, anthocyanins. There's heaps of different, 10,000 varying ones. Isoflavonoids, rotenone, that's the pesticide that smells like, it's the one that flies attract to. It smells like rotting. Anyway, I'm not going to go into them. I'm just going to touch on them. Alkaloids, that's the rad ones. That's, anyway. Not really interested in those ones one bit. So what else? Plant defense. So plants have developed a wide variety of defense strategies in insect herbs. So they can go and defend themselves by activating these pathways. So induced plant defenses are initiated after actual damage occurs. So there's a few ways through induced or just starting getting onto the topic. There's a few different ways you can activate. So induce them yourself, or I just got a memory block now. It's systemic. That is when it goes into the system and goes through the plant. There's 2 different ways you can do it: through SAR, systemic acquired resistance, and induced acquired resistance. There you go. Plants can recognize specific compounds of insects' saliva even. Yes. Pathway, oh gosh, the FL22 receptor, because it's the flagella in bacteria. It can distinguish if it's got a flagella or not, or cilia, and that's how it does it, by activating that gene pathway. And the defense part, high. So if you can somehow stimulate this pathway to happen, that's going to be the one that the medical cannabis plant's going to defend and go, whoa, far out, I really got to defend myself. I'm that bit. Jasmonic acid acts as, I'm just really going to touch on this because it's a very detailed topic. Some plant proteins inhibit herbivore digestion. So yeah, they put out different enzymes to block it. For example, some legumes synthesize amylase inhibitors that block the action of starch digesting enzymes. Very good. Herbivore. Okay. Strategies of pathogens to invade plants. No. Some antimicrobial compounds are synthesized before pathogen attack. Okay. Infection induces additional anti-pathogen defenses. Yes. A common defense response is the hypersensitive response. And that's where you'll see the plant will have like a dot on it, and then it'll start to swell out from the dot and kill all of its cells. And that's called the hypersensitive. Or a small region of dead tissue is left at the site of the attempted invasion, but the rest of the plant is unaffected. Okay. Yeah, and then it goes into, you can prime your plant with your PR proteins, pathogenic resistance proteins, related proteins. So if they've got that, if you go and put that in through your breeding program, and it'll have this, and that's what makes it fast acting against defenses in future. So I've gone and activated mine for fungal invasion and a few other things. Talking about secondary metabolites, I'm getting off the topic here a bit. Why isn't it? That's why there's the FLG22 receptor. And the PEP13 is for Oomycetes. So if this one's activated, that's your Fusarium or Pythium or those other bad, they're Oomycetes family, they're called. And the MEMS, microbial associated general molecular patterns. So you can activate this in your plant. A single encounter with a pathogen may increase, so a single encounter with a pathogen may increase resistance with future attacks, called systemic acquired resistance, SAR. So that's what I've done after learning this many years ago. I went and did this and found it worked with my pathways, and yeah, I had quite a lot of resistance to quite a lot of things. You see it, check out some of my videos. I've got some good fungal resistant videos where it just keeps, it only grows on dead tissue. So it's fungal resistant. Otherwise, you can activate your systemic acquired resistance is through salicylic acid. So you can endogenously add it externally, sprinkle it on, get some powder. H2O2, so hydrogen peroxide, is another compound that accumulates at the site of an infection and plays a role in systemic acquired resistance too. So for those people that like to put it in their soil and kill all the microbes, yes, it might have a little help hand in doing this. So like salicylic acid, hydrogen peroxide is unlikely to function as a long distance signal. So this is how the plants communicate. This is allelopathy, where they can transmit it to the next plant. So whatever's happening in one plant, it'll go through their salicylic acid compound, and then it'll form a methyl salicylic acid, which means it's volatile, and it goes into the air. And once it's methylated, it goes in here and over here to the receptors and it absorbs it, and it goes, oh, then it reads that pathway and activates this pathway, which improves its resistance. So that's allelopathy, how it speaks from one plant to the other. But this is a way where you can also improve your genetic resistance in your breeding stock or your stock. But it's also a way that pathogens can pass their infections on from one plant to another. I've had leaf curl disease, leaf curl bacteria got into one, and I used it as an advantage, and I put it, and I left it, I think, a metre away from one or two others, and seen how long it was until the leaf curl started to curl on the other ones. And then it did, and then that took, I think it was only, was it hours? Might have been about 12 hours or so, that's off the top of my head, but it was really fast. And then I stimulated their immune system heavily and let them overcome it, and that gave them a bit of a PR, a pathogenic related response where it could defend itself quite easily, you know, getting onto it. Oh, and here's the other one, the induced. Remember, I was thinking of the two ways where you can give it into your plant with the induced and the systemic acquired. So that's the other way, which induced is activated by non-pathogenic microbes. So that might be through your beneficials, for instance, or it could be through pathways like jasmonic acid, which is a bit lighter than, because salicylic is a bit more full on. So jasmonic acid or even ethylene. Activate it through that. There's a good paper a while ago on ethylene that says that they've started putting it into their seeds, and it gave them a good boost with, I think, NPK, like a nanotechnology boost throughout its life cycle. And I use ethylene for dormant seeds because ethylene helps with, it's one of the two hormones which is plant needs for germination. I'm getting off the topic again. Back on it. Exposure to non-pathogenic microorganisms may increase resistance to future pathogenic attack through development of induced systemic resistance. So that just is a diagram of what was previously just said. The role of secondary metabolites summary. So this is in Trends of Plant Science. So the reason why secondary metabolites are there is for these reasons, for herbivores, mycorrhizae, everything. All these attackers around have, I need water. Excuse me. I need some, yeah, good, that's good. All of these attackers that are around attack, and the plant defends itself by putting out these attractants, which attract different things to kill these things, or warding off to put these insects off. They might like the smells, so they put out those certain smells, and that's what we call terpenes, and we go, wow. Secondary metabolite pathways. Here's some pentose, no, this is very technical. Secondary metabolites in plant cell cultures. All right, that's to do accumulation. Right, that'll do for a little bit. See if I should be asking for questions. Actually, it was a bit rude of me, wasn't it? Yeah, it's horrible. Jasmonic acid is in my facial serum. Oh wow, you might get some resistance, some bacterial resistance or something in your in what it is. Hey, look out! There's green bicycles. How you going, green bicycles? I see you, mate. We were talking about secondary metabolites, the activation of them and how you stimulate them in your plant. There's actually, I've done a few other courses on secondary metabolites. Let's have a bit of a squeeze. Back to here. Plant biochemistry. This was a good one. Oh, this isn't prepared. Oh, here you go. Well, the plant secondary metabolites, they have to store them somewhere. And the cells that are stored in, or the different types of tissues and organs on the sites, are places like idioblasts down the bottom, vacuoles, trichomes, glandular hairs, intercellular spaces, cuticles, and epidermis. So all these different areas in cells and the plants is where all these secondary metabolites. So if you can try and stimulate them a lot better, you're going to get these places full and have a more medicinal product. Commercial products, oh no. Disadvantage extraction, no. Geez. Advantage of producing. What was I trying to find again? It's the same professor was on this course too. So bloody knowledgeable. Holy mackerel. No, that's it. Ah. Okay. We're talking about secondary metabolites. Micro-assisted selection mode. Okay. Not on that course. Development. Secondary metabolites. That's physiology and metabolism. Metabolism. Plant metabolism. No. Better go back. Physiological. Microengine. No. Jesus Christ. What happened here? Secondary metabolites. Right, where's the other ones? Very good. Sorry, give me a sec. Development biology? No, that's to do with the in there. It's just all them. Diseases of horticultural. You want the plant ones. Plant pathology and soil health, no. Oh, I'll just go back into my plant sites. But it doesn't really have the overall explanation of them all. Okay. What questions do you want to ask within the about secondary metabolites? Because I'm not sure how to talk about them again. I've sort of gone all over the shop a bit. So can you put your questions down, please, so I can get a bit more directed again? Like, how do you want to know what they do, or I've already talked about how to stimulate them, I think. Post-harvest operations, post-harvest operations. Oh, that was more in the drying and curing. Post-harvest operations. Yeah, that was more the dry and cure, essentially. What have we got here? Post-harvest operations. Secondary metabolites. Well, to retain the secondary metabolites, post-harvest operations is extremely blimmin' important, because they can be lost. If you let your product dry out too much, you've probably lost 3/4 of your secondary metabolite profile, as an example. So yeah, the process is so important. These are some equipment to use for drying. look at this. Because I study in India, they show you the old traditional ways where you can make it, and then they show you the ways where you can spend money. So look, they made a traditional drying huts here, quite a few of them. Solar drying, just by the sun's rays, heats this up. Another dryer, homemade, and then if you've got money, you can go and buy them. I love that. So you have the option. It's pretty cool. Oh wow. But yeah, so you have to maintain a good procedure post-harvest to retain all of your secondary metabolites. And I made a good video on that, on retaining them. Just to answer a question just today on that. JC Smith 71, how you going, mate? Nice to see you, mate. We're talking on secondary metabolites, so if you've got any questions on that, how to activate them or anything like that, please ask that. And yeah, your post-harvest operations of it is very vital, because you want to retain them all. And I consider it a failure if I don't get the same smell that I do on the plant when I'm smoking it or I vape. So usually my first bag of vape is very, very terped up. So I want to taste the same that I smell on the plant at day 60 odd. And then I consider that a quality and done right post-harvest operations, the dry and the cure. And the storage is done really well to maintain that, where I'd probably get that about, I reckon, 30% of the time. And most of the other time, it's pretty good, but it's just not, could be better. So it's so hard, but so blooming important. What else can I show about the secondary metabolites? Oh yeah, I got quite a few of those slides. I suppose I can show it, but the volatile terpene temperatures is pretty important too. So now that we've the boiling points of them. So this has changed a bit. So see, from 2001, they've just, some of these are adjusted. So this is just a general guide, but it's good to show you what temperature things burn away at. And this is just through heat only. This isn't through oxidation or time or anything, which also does it. UV rays, sunlight also breaks down a lot of these molecules. This is a good basic one with for North American people too, for Fahrenheit, where it's just a basic guide where it shows you before it's decarbed and its range it can handle before it gets to decarbing. And then once it's decarbed, it becomes active, and then it changes its boiling point temperature. And this is pretty full on, benzene and hydrocarbons. So once the temperature, like your volcano, that the new ones now, they come out at 210 Celsius. That's because when they go up, the old one's 230, and once you burn above about 225 and you chop it fine, you activate these hydrocarbons and these bad, dangerous gases. I know that because I've got a few of the meters. I got a lot of electronic air meters, and yeah, it was pretty important that. This is a cannabinoid family tree. There's better ones of these, but it starts out as CBG, A, then goes and breaks down to its constituents and then breaks down further. Terpene benefits. Yeah, there's also every different terpene, like for the linalool is the main constituent for lavender. So people go and buy lavender oil, which is high in linalool, and that's got a lot of these properties in it. But we've got linalool and all these other terpenes in cannabis. That's why it's a multi-spectrum drug. So if you want to get a lot of these, say, pain relief, you could go and have linalool, humulene, caryophyllene, some myrcene. You'd be hunting out those types of terpenes to have in your profile for your keeper, so to speak. CBD, yeah, these are the rad pathways that all these act on. Not going to go into them. Chemistry, this is what we're talking about today. The secondary metabolites, really, the cannabinoids, flavonoids. That's in the that's the terpenes. Well, it's a classification of the terpenes. You know, terpenes are breaking down by the isoprene levels, and triterpenes is your, I think it's your 30 group. It starts out at 5, then 10, 20, and 30. What's this saying? Stop using indica and sativa labels. Start using chemotype-based classifications. Well, I don't reckon. I like the old school way because I'm caffeine sensitive, and if I smoke sativa dominant, my heart rate goes up. And I've found that to be true in other people too who are caffeine sensitive. So I like it how it has sativa in the label. They're rad jars. See how they store them? I learned that pretty good from living in Canada. I lived in Canada for 5 years, and everyone does it in glass jars. So since then, I've gone and sourced some glass jars too, and it's just never a problem. There's no leaching of anything, any metals or anything. Any possible air gaps is a big main thing to depreciate your bud. The only thing is that these containers are see-through, so they can't have any sunlight on them. Endocannabinoid system in the brain. Yes, very good. That's why we all have weed, and we all know it's rad because it does something to us. And that's one of the effects. What's this thing? This was pretty cool, this study. The entourage effect. Oh, gosh. Okay. Expired. Yeah, your bud, does it expire, man? Yeah, bloody oath it does. About 3 months' time. I give it, it changes its profile massively. Because see all this air inside of that, even in cryovac bags, once the air's sucked out of it, there's still little bits, constituents inside of it that will depreciate and break down chemicals. So your THC will be CBN after a few months. Here's a bigger family tree. Goes into a little bit more chemical detail, but here's a more easier one to understand. And for those with cancer, see the anti-cancers, THCA, CBDA. So if you've got cancer, by what this is telling you, that says anti-cancer too. Yeah, the THC molecule works to hunt down the cancer cells in the body and stop them from growing, or apoptosis, it can kill them. It does some really, really rad stuff. But anyway, back to that's the cannabinoid family tree. Starts out as CBGA, then goes down, daughters, then the granddaughters, once it's heated a bit, it's decarbed, loses its acid molecule, becomes into it's this. Then after it's aged THC, it turns into CBNA, and then it can break down into CBN. You'll notice when if you put your weed in, say, a glass jar and store it for, say, 12 months, and you know what you're smoking, then you'll smoke it, and it won't have much THC in it anymore. It'll have CBN in it, and you'll get a massive body effect, which means that you'll go, why do I feel like not doing much? Why am I looking to grab the remote? I want to watch something on TV. Is there a rad movie? What do flavonoids do in the rhizosphere? Okay. There's the aldolopathy, that's how it's spelt, where the plants speak to each other. This is all sorts of chemical signaling going on, and quorum sensing. Quorum sensing is where bacteria speak to each other. They put out different chemical signals, which they pick up on, and they can release chemical signals, and they can speak to each other. That's, and they can put out little, oh, this is secondary metabolite, sorry. I love bacteria. That's a question you should start me on. Done a few bacterial courses. This is another way to stimulate the secondary metabolite pathway through vibrations. So they're saying through here, this is a, yeah, just another way of getting the signaling pathway activated. And the reason being is because of, if you do it at low vibrations, it stimulates a bee or some sort of other insect, you know, because you hear insects flying around all the time. So that's how it works with vibrations. Okay, that's what we're just talking about. Fresh frozen. Oh, yeah, this is the way to probably retain the most secondary metabolites to date. So if you are a real big medicinal person and you're really struggling, you might be wanting to look into your fresh frozen. So as soon as you cut down the plant, you freeze it. And then that way it retains all of the secondary metabolites that are in it. So I'm not going to go through it. You can even get small home freeze dry machines now. And they press it out in this way. So you can, there's a few ways you can handle it after that. But yeah, fresh frozen, you can get live rosin or cheeses. And this, it's like as if they've added terpene profile to it. It's so huge. It's so good. Secondary metabolites, cannabinoids, volatiles. Oh yeah, there's your isoprene range. Monoterpenes, terpenoids. And yeah, it's 20, so 5, 10, 20, 30. I was wrong before. Try must be here, 40. Try, 3. Anyway. That's a good way to maybe, yeah. Terpenes to remember, no. The terpenes to remember are the ones that you need for your body, because we're all into this for medicinal purposes, most of us anyway, not just looking for the high. So there's, most of the people that listen to this show are connoisseurs, and they really are into these individual things and trying to bring out the best in their genetic potential in their cultivars as well. And so the terpenes to remember are the ones that really you want. So if you're cancer orientated, you might do things like that with the pain focused. If you've got troubles in sleeping, you might look for more sedative type ones, etc., etc. So my terpenes to remember are, I've got epilepsy, so I try the antispasmodic ones. So yeah, they're the main ones that I like to breed in. The hidden heroes, phyllosphere, endosphere. Your phyllosphere is above the ground. Endosphere is inside, and then rhizosphere is right next to the roots. Nanotechnology is just rad. I did a course called Nanotechnology in Agriculture a few years ago, and there's so many experiments in that course that I'm still yet to try because of how well it works. All right. More secondary metabolites, individuals. Very good. Know your terpenes, man. Terpenes. Terpene health benefits. Yeah. This is more so the ones I'm interested in, all the health benefits you get out of them. It's just a multi-spectrum drug. And remember too that cannabis is a bioaccumulative. So if you go and feed it, if it's heavy metals in the soils, it might absorb. Or if there's bad elements around, it can be absorbed into it. So really watch what you're putting into it. Oh yeah, this is a good one. Ocimene. And it was one of the lowest volatile organic compounds, like CBG. So if you heat up above this temperature, if your post-harvest buds get above this temperature, they will that's the temperature which OC is active at, and it starts to release at. So that means it's gone. So it won't be released into your body, it'll be released out into the air. Same with CBG is at that temperature as well. Just an example. So your post-harvest operations is very important for this reason. And that's why on that video, that fast dry your cannabis, this was one of the main things for my experiment was the 50-degree line. So you can't go anywhere near that. So I maintain my temperatures at about 40 to 45. And I know that I've maintained most of the all the medicinal properties possibly that I could have. It's blurry. Oh, there's some questions, is there? Hey, banana farmer, how you going, mate? Why old brown weed would make people tired? CBN. JK. Hey, how you going, JK? Is that a question, mate? Try and put a question mark next to it. So I know it's a question because I'm not quite sure if it is or not. I'll just pause on something a bit more interesting. There you go. That's pretty interesting. You can read, and I just looked through the questions. Why old brown weed would make people tired? Old. Oh, it's because it's the CBN in it. Yeah. Get block of dry ice, JK says, and use it to dry out fresh cut plant. Cheap alternative to freeze drying. Yeah, it'll take a while. You can do experiments and try. JK says hops contain many of the same terpenes as cannabis. Yes, because it's from the Cannabinaceae family, hops is. And JK, I have been making hot water like cold brew tea and carbonate the tea with soda stream, and the effect is very relaxing. Yeah, JK, bring out those terpene benefits, mate. JC Smith 71, hello. Some hops list the terpene profiles. Oh, wow. It was a comment, sir. Oh, yeah. Like your content you're sharing. Yeah, no worries. That's cool. That's why I didn't have a question mark. It was a comment. Very good. I am in Michigan. JK says, yeah, it's going to get cold for you soon. You'll have to nearly vernalize your outdoors. So back to the secondary metabolite profile. So THC has 20 times the anti-inflammatory power of aspirin and twice that of hydrocortisone. So hydrocortisone is the steroid injection that they give you into your aching areas, and all of a sudden it fixes it for a short period. But yeah, 20 times the anti-inflammatory properties. I've been rubbing my back's been a bit sore, and I've been putting some just CBD oil, high strength CBD, 200 milligrams odd, onto my back area, and nearly instantly I can notice the inflammation. That says THC, but I was saying CBD because it does have CBD as rad properties of anti-inflammatory as well. And that's what they do for the synthetic stuff. So because we've got the phytocannabinoids, cannabinoids are now termed synthetic. So if you just use the word cannabinoids, that's what all the government people use, and that's just synthetic. So now they do that. They just chop the tail in the chemistry. Bang, there's your synthetic stuff, and that's been outlawed in 3 states in the US. So if you see the synthetic cannabinoids, say no to it. Okay. The entourage effect. That's just combining everything together. So that's why you get different highs from different plants, different cultivars, because they have different terpenes mixed with each other with the cannabinoids. So all these things, terpenes, flavonoids, and cannabinoids mixed together, they all give you that effect. So that's mixing them all up gives you a different effect. And yeah, that'll do. We'll know about that. JK, nice. Oh, there's Grokowski. G'day, Grokowski. How you going, mate? I'll see you. We're just talking about secondary metabolites. So if you've got any questions about that, I've let them rip. I've gone about how to activate them and what chemicals and different pathways you should initiate. And this is just a little bit more about some information about the secondary metabolite pathway in medical cannabis. This is a UV study with secondary metabolites. So this says it's evident that UV is generally, okay, what's the outcome? Low tide breaking wave, what's that mean? Oh, that's probably the cultivars. Increasing UV exposure. So the saying is UV levels get up higher, it affects the growth. So you can see the size of the bud there down to here. But the secondary metabolites would be activated heaps. So that's why you've got to give a bit to get a bit. So you'd find a happy medium. So this cultivar looks pretty good at that, so you might just stick at that level. Or this one here looks pretty good at this level as well. So you might just stick at this exposure level. What's this one? This is an in vitro study about UVB radiation. UVB, okay. Do you know that the greenhouses, they cut out a lot of the UVA and UVB? No, UVA, I think it is. So part of the spectrum is cut out. So if you're trying to get a better wave, you know, your spectrum, I haven't talked about the actual spectrum itself. That's what I can talk about. If you want to include that. This ultraviolet, yeah, see there's difference A, B, and C. The C is mostly burned off in the upper atmosphere. Oh, it's absorbed by Earth's atmosphere before it reaches us. There you go. The UVB is primarily it causes a sunburn, and UVA penetrates deep, causes skin cells to age and kills things. Dun dun. So, and that's what the harmful one is, UVC. Like there's a time when Grokowski, this is a funny story, you don't mind me telling this, he got it was many years ago when the UVC lights were just coming out, and he got one. And we were live with him, and then he said, I said, you better put some protective gear on, you know, that penetrates and kills cells and all that sort of stuff, as you can see here. So he puts on his middle of snow gear, and he looks like the Michelin Man, this big, massive, protected fella, comes, like, couldn't walk properly, had to waddle in because there was so much protection. And it was just funny. I just remember laughing. So there you go, Koski. There's a secondary metabolite story about him. So back to the secondary metabolites. UVC is for sterilization, yes. JC says. Oh, and there's some of the different types of THC. So that goes into cannabinoids. I'm not going to go into those, THC, V and O, really. The varanonic acid, like we were talking about before. That might be the reason, this is the reason why I think for the delayed high in some cultivars, like in pink itself, there's a bit of a pause. Wait about 2 minutes, and all of a sudden at 3 minute mark, it's like, whoa, something hits in the back of the head. That's what I think it's for. The complete antibiotic chart. Okay. All right. Just getting a bit into heavy details at the end. Okay. So let's do I go to the start of that bit? Whoops. Not study. It's going to plant science, secondary metabolites. Did I go through all the start ones? Yeah, I think I did. Yep. Oh, there's the, actually no, I didn't, because I didn't bring this chart up. The isoprene levels. That was the only other thing just to talk about. And the tri, oh, it's 6 times. No, 30, there you go. You see, it was 30. Because I thought tri means 3. Tetra is 4. Di is 2. Because that's how they name a lot of these. Mono is 1. So you can remember the isoprene levels of your classification for your terpenes. What else is in here then, while we're on the subject? It's going into a bit of detail again. Yeah, see, that's anti-everything. That's why medical cannabis is so rad. It has so many antis and so beneficial for this and that. And if you can dial it all in, like even for skin, like, do you know above 10 milligrams of CBD rubbed on your head can remove hair cells, but if it's below 10 milligrams, say 5, it can increase hair cells growing. So if you can dial your numbers in on your different areas and your things, you can really get the benefit out of medical cannabis, something chronic. Pterocarbons, righto. Majority of natural pterocarbons have been obtained from phytoalexins. Then we went into the pathways. Righto, so it's pretty good. Effects and flavors of individual terps. Yeah, that's just an example. I'm not going to go into that. Yeah, you got to know what you want and know what effects that you want, so you can source those types of cultivars or strains that have those in them. I found what I wanted was, I lived in Canada for 5 years, and for the first year and a half, I went to all the dispensaries I could and bought shitloads of weed and got all different types of, so I'd take my microscope in, I'd look at them, I'd see what's the best indicas I could and that would grow in the best way, and I'd try them all. And that's when I dialed it in to, a dozen or so. It's pretty, isn't it? It's a vaping study, volcano vaping, which we're not going to go into. Oh, wow, it's been an hour. Holy mackerel. He's Rokowski. He built a couple of UVCs, you reckon? Yeah, he sure did. JK says, interesting that the plants produce different terpenes on the lower part of the plant and the tops produce another spectrum of terpenes. Yeah, because it's in a different microclimate. The ones that are up top will be light affected and the ones down below. So if you really want the best, if you're going to take a bud in, it's just under the top is the best where you'd get the highest secondary metabolite profile. Generally, people grow with lights, or you can grow outside. So the sun's miles away. So you can Gavita lights, you can grow that are 10 feet high. So there's all different types of setups, but just in general, yeah, it's because of the different microclimates that they're in and the different pathways that they're stimulated in different areas of the plant. But in general, on the whole plant, you still get a pretty good spectrum. It should only vary a smidgen. Because they're in the dark and they're not signaled as strongly, but in general, they're all pretty good. That was pretty good on secondary metabolites. What else can be added? What else do I have on secondary without going into much detail? Any good studies here? Because all the studies are in PDFs. Ploidy, no. Oh yeah, this one. Here we go. Check this out. This is no, that's not what I wanted. That's not the one I want. Where are we back to you? There, present. Here's the difference in secondary metabolites on organics versus non-organics. So the old Jar Love, good on him. Rest in peace, cool Jar Love. He did a grow, Death Bubba, of non-organics to organics. And the difference was fascinating. It was a side-by-side. He had 2 sheds, and he did one with organics because he wanted to transform into fully organics. So he just did 1 shed first. And the difference was off the charts. Look, 34%. It was like heaps lower for and then the secondary metabolite profile was so high for organics compared to, so it says 1.71, which is just an average height, 2%. I'd say 4 to 5 is pretty high. That's what I'd like to aim at about. But in general, to what his other grows were, this was really high. So yeah, that's from growing. So you can activate it. And why do you think is the reason why those secondary metabolite profiles are activated better through organics? Why? I can show you actually. While you hold that question and you think of the answer, I'm going to get onto the answer because there's a growth balance differential hypothesis. Now I've got to find it. No, it's a growth differential balance hypothesis if you were to Google it. Now, where's that? That's the answer. And then I just got to explain what that is. Oh, yeah, that click, that was the kombucha. Growth balance differential. It's under organics. Oh no. It's on this main page. So it'd be under what? I've done a few organics courses, organic farming courses. All right, it's not there. I'm going to have a look in the study. These will probably find interesting, the organics anyway. But it's all to do with the secondary metabolite pathway. Organic farming, organic farming for sustainable agriculture. It's in one of these. Am I sharing it? No, I'm not. So what's the question again? The question is, why do organics activate better secondary metabolite pathways than synthetic grows? No. This is where I want. I keep closing stuff off. Is that it? So I'm looking for the properties of good quality compost. Oh gosh. Oh, this is that study on that. No. Come on, where's the growth balance differential hypothesis? No, very good. And preparation. Nutrient management. No. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. There's the nutrient composition of some organic resources. So if you want to make up your own, I did a good video on that. If you want to do this yourself, you can look it through that. Growth rate, no. It'll be right at the end, wouldn't it? here's a good one I wasn't going to show, but this is a test on tea that they've done it. So you can see the catagens is the level of, what's the catagens again to be precise? It's how good the tea is or not. The level of like spices or things that are in the tea. If it's high in catagens, it's a lot more richer. So you can see here just through a chemical fed, they got 7.5 milligrams in the leaves. Through a control one, they did 14. Through organic vermicastings, they did 16. And through the vermicastings plus the wash as well, feeding them the vermi wash, they got higher again. So that's just one little quick example of a study done in 2008 that more than doubled the outcome from the synthetics to the. But with cannabis, they have got where you can go and add, what's that brand? I shouldn't probably say it, but one of the brands has hormones in it. So it has a bit of, I think, salicylic acid in one of the flowering nutrients, and that's going to activate your secondary metabolite profile a bit better. Remember the salicylic acid was your induced systemic resistance, and the jasmonic acid was your systemic acquired with ethylene. But I'll try and find the growth balance differential. Why transition to organics? Hopefully it's in here. But I'm focusing on secondary metabolite pathway. That's all it is to do. And has anybody tried to have an answer? The question was, why do you get better secondary metabolites generally through organics? That's how to change your outdoor land. Yeah, good. Effects of rotation. The only reason everyone always says do crop rotation outdoors, it's only because the ground doesn't get used to what you're growing. So the pathogens can't take over. So if different things come in, it just changes up the microbes and pathogen ratio. I got to show you this. Because I study in India, this is a big bamboo tower that is for vertical farming. That's bamboo. Dead set. How rad is that? Because they do hydroponics as well, but they use the vermi wash, and which comes out of the bottom, and you can dilute that, out of your vermicastings and put that through the system, and sweet as. Might even show it here. Looks like it's on that second. There it is. How cool is that? Look at that. People will go, oh, okay, yeah, that's synthetic, massive synthetic. No, mate, that's organics. So it is possible to do that system with organics. Here's a bit of a ratio. I put this into one of the videos that I made on substrates, I think it was, substrate priming. Oh, getting off the subject a bit here. Food quality. Yes, this might be in here. It is, I think, you beauty, come on. Some evidence. Things to be concerned about. Yeah, see, if you absorb cadmium, if you've got cadmium in your substrate, it'll get absorbed into those various vacuoles or, eddy blast. Cannabis plant, and then if you eat it, bang, you've digested it and it's inside of you. So you have to really, really be careful where you source your stuff from if you're ingesting it, especially. Yeah, what you eat. I'll leave it on that for a sec, because walking lightly, isn't it? G'day, walking lightly. There you go, mate. What's JK? Interesting that plants produce. Oh, okay. Yeah. JD Live official channel. G'day, JD Live. He says yo. Reactive oxygen species. So if the plants are force fed, they've got a chance to not produce the antioxidants because they haven't gone through the cycle. They've just always force-fed. So if they get a problem with them, that means they're going to really react bad fastly and have a chance of producing more of these reactive oxygen species, which is all of them. Not going to go into it. The role of antioxidants. So that's what you really want to produce in your plants. So how's that happen? And that's through this growth balance, the growth differential balance hypothesis. Phytochemicals, yes. Phyto, or plant means phyto, chemicals are chemicals. So that means plant chemicals that are in there. So many beneficial ones. And you want to activate as many phytochemicals as you can. So here we go. There's a 10-year comparison of the influence of organic and conventional crop management practices on flavonoids in tomatoes. So you can see conventional gets you just, which is normal conventional synthetic growing, or organics. Look at these numbers. They're nearly double. So there's one study as well, 2007 down the bottom here. That shows you the difference on flavonoids. So if you can, organics is very hard, but if you can try and go towards it, there's so many benefits. It looks after itself, it buffers itself, health-wise. Won't go into it. So what is the antioxidant capacity is known as the oxygen radical absorption capacity, the ORAC, in agricultural terms. So if you can get a higher ORAC, you're on a winner, which is the highest in all of these properties, which everybody should be aiming for if they're in a medicinal quality scenario. So here's some high ORACs, which you'd expect in your fruit. Very good, but this is medicinal cannabis we want to talk about. And meaning higher antioxidant content as well. So comparison between organic and inorganic vegetables for the antioxidants. So nearly all of them are higher in organic system. So if you're in it for medicinal purposes and secondary metabolite profile, this is where you want to focus, organics. The yield and total phenol of tea grown in organics to conventionals. So this is just a yield. So the phenolics, chemical and organic fertilizer. So see chemical, you're always going to, they got a better yield. But what was the quality like? Holy mackerel. 2/3, well, what's that, nearly 50% better. So the phenol content was 50% better, and the total amount of catechins was 4 times better. So yeah, you'll always get a better yield doing synthetics, but look at the quality. The secondary metabolite profile is where the quality is, and that's what I'm about. Everybody grows and does different things differently and administers and takes things differently, but I'm all about quality. All these different things mean a pretty good level. Let's keep going. Here we go. Look at this. The growth differential balance hypothesis. I found it. Yay. I suppose this way getting to it was pretty good. It's why organic fruits and vegetables, or why organic medical cannabis produce higher antioxidant levels than conventional counterparts. So why does organically grown produce higher antioxidant levels than conventional? The oxidative stress hypothesis and the growth differential balance hypothesis. So it's all about the stress that's put on the plant from it's trying to fend for itself with organics. It goes through different scenarios and has to activate different pathways, which are those defense pathways. So that's why I went through those pathways at the start of this talk, and they're activated through the plant fending for itself. And the second way is the nutrient level is once the plant is baby fed all the time, like bottle fed, it's just always looking after itself. But the organics, it all of a sudden it gets a little bit of a lower nitrogen. It's got to put out some signals to the exudates, to microbes to try and increase nitrogen content. So it's got to fend for itself a bit. which produces more higher antioxidant levels. So that's why it's a lot more nutritionally beneficial and medicinally active, the secondary metabolites with organics. And the only reason with synthetics they've gone and made them, they've tried to equal it, is with those few hormones that I mentioned earlier. There you go. You beauty. I reckon that's rad. Oh, there's been a few comments. Yo, oh, hello. Excuse me. I know where I am. Okay. Bit of internal chat. That's rad. Pesticide residue. Well, you better hope you don't get too much of that. Organic marketing. No, okay. All right. Is there any organic stuff that you want to put down? Not organic. Secondary metabolite things. That was really good to finish on this. Far out. If someone wants to watch this back, they'll have really good, hopefully an understanding of it, a brief understanding, that's for sure. Hey. That was 1 hour 20. Wow, look at that question that Sunshine said. Didn't even get to his second one. What was that? On senescence. Why does the plants reach senescence? That's cool. Banana Farmer says, secondary metabolites communicate with organisms above ground and below and have an effect on the ecosystem. Yeah, they do. Yep, have an effect on the ecosystem. I suppose, well, they signal different things. So it's not much of a signal, though, but I suppose if you've got a field, it might affect the way things are. But yeah, secondary metabolites, if you can activate them in various ways, they're so beneficial. The poor plant sits there, it can't fend for itself, move left or right, or try and get out of the road. It just puts out these signals. Poor thing. Even for stresses, the abiotic and biotic stresses, that's the ways to activate. Another way to activate their, well, the main way, I suppose. That's why they activate them. Good stuff. Well, write any more questions if you can, because I reckon we've been going on for a while. This is pretty good, wasn't it? It's a shame there's... What else do you want to know of secondary metabolites? Because it's been a pretty good all-round discussion. I'm going to change today's topic to secondary metabolites. That's all I'm going to put it. Yeah, because that's just so important. That's what we farm. We are interested in those. And especially, it'd be good to know how much secondary metabolites. Here's a question for someone else, so you guys, girls. How much secondary metabolites are in the actual dermal tissue and the eddy-blasts and the vacuoles? Because those types of things aren't in the trichomes or the unicell, you know, the different parts of the trichomes, the stalked capitate or the trichome heads, which is the main things that we have. I suppose if you, it's more so for extraction people. Well, you get the anthocyanins when you extract in water because they float and you can see them, they come out quite well. I change colour of the water in that too. Sort of like dye. What other secondary metabolite stuff? I'm really excited about that because, yeah, that's the whole reason why myself and others go to that, and yourselves go to the levels that we do, is for the secondary metabolite profile. Not just the trikes. Because when we smoke the green leaf material, we're consuming all those different, is it, got that slide still up? Yes. Oh, no. Oh, that's just, oh, that's the one that, it's the senescence one. It talks all about that. Ask that next week, I hope, and then I can go into and show this one about senescence. Because how senescence happens and the different processes in the break that it goes through. That's why a lot of old-fashioned growers use in the end cycle, because it is reactive through anthocyanins. That's what I didn't show. The spectrum for today. I'm going to get to that. I'm still sharing. Where's the spectrum? I've got it down here. Because we want to know I've got a really, really good spectrum photo. There it is. No, we don't want you. We want spectrum photo, this one. Because this shows, not many around show the frequency going above like 1,000 nanometers. This one goes right to 3,000 nanometers. So this is the outside, the solar energy distribution of the sun. So you can see right down here, it goes into the UVC, B, then A, and then up to the blue. And then it continues up in our visible spectrum to here. And then this is the plant can still use all of this above here. So these are the gases, the yellow bits in the spectrum. And these are the near infrared. So there is still bits that are absorbed by the sun, by the plant. So it's pretty interesting. They don't produce much energy, but there still is a wavelength out there that hasn't been matched indoors. There you go. UV, visible light that we see. Infrared goes right to 3,000. And it's so low, it just goes off. So this is the spectral radiance. So these are watts per square meter. So 1 watt per square meter, 2 watts per square meter. So it's really, really low, but it still is an amount that the sun can, the plant's tissue can recognize. Blue and red light. Yeah, I don't want to go into the spectrum too much, but it was more so about the UV, because that's the parts to activate the secondary metabolites profile in the plant. Walking Lightly's got a question. Anything on Bill Gates and his appeal brand on trying to prevent food waste? Trying to stay away from anything with it. So Bill Gates must have, I haven't heard about anything like this. Anything on Bill Gates and his appeal brand on trying to prevent food waste? I don't know. It's in my, in post-harvest operations course, they were talking about different food wraps now that are edible. They're trying to make things that are they're producing these films that are so thin that are gelatin-based and different plant-based that are actually edible. And I thought, I don't know if I'd like buying edible packaging that I get from the shops. Like it might be healthy and might be compostable, really good, but yeah, edible, I don't know about that. But it's still going to help. Biodegradable is food. Plastic bags is rad. I don't know if you've ever used those, but they went through a phase here in Australia a while ago when they used them, and I used to keep stuff in them thinking they were the old normal bags, and you can tell later, like after a few years, which ones are the biodegradable, because you go to pick them up and it's like paper, like air. It fifths in your hands. Yeah. Walking Lightly says to extend the shelf life of crops without refrigerated and protect them from being eaten by pests and developing so extend shelf life of crops without refrigerating. Yes, that was in my post-harvest operations course. Let's pull that up. Extend the shelf life. There's a few ways you can do that. Gases is one of them. They do that with, actually I'll just go to course. Post-harvest operations. Ripening senescence. Now I'll share the screen because it'll be interesting for you guys and girls. Because, yeah, not much is talked about with the post-harvest operations. Should I get rid of that message? I'll get rid of that. Then you can see, no, post-harvest operations. Losses, it'll be all right. Processing and preservation, removal of waxes, addition of heat and removal, sorting, cleaning, minimal processing, juice extraction, techniques and equipment, and premixes, ready to eat fruit and dehydrated. So week 7, that would be one to go through. Fermentation. Basics of preservation. See, where is that? Basics of preservation. Preserving them. Oh, yeah. Well, really, it's about moisture. And if you haven't dried it properly, it gets to that chart that I've got that says above 65% moisture, and you're going to run into trouble. That's where fungal spores and bacterial spores can germinate. Saccharomyces is 65%. So if you've got one spore in there at 65% moisture, it'll activate and keep spreading, and that'll just ruin everything. Consequence and microbial spoilage. Okay, I think you wanted quick fixes, didn't you? To extend the shelf life. Yeah, major targets for antimicrobial preservation techniques. So major techniques: poisoning microbes, spoilage microbes. So there's examples. They're different. Yeah, they put in different enzymes as well to target different things. So factors affecting microbial growth. So all these things that you really want to be bought into to reduce your spoilage effects, to extend your shelf life. So like icing and freezing just reduces everything, which is rad. Actually, preservation. Prevention of growth of spoilage and poisonous microbes, preservation of other quality attributes. There's a few different ways to preserve it. So which way do you want to look at? Food preservation techniques and concepts. Slowing down inhibition of growth in microbial. So that you'll want to go and do all of these processes to try and slow down instances and complete inhibition of microbial growth. All different ways. So you can read through them. Pause that later if you want and read through them. And for medical cannabis, it's exactly the same way, mate. Pretty much exactly the same. So you decrease the oxygen by putting in nitrogen. You increase CO2. Next. Direct inactivation of microbes. So that's why a lot of the licensed producers, the LPs, have it mandatory where they've got to put a irradiation plant in their building. And you'd know, walking lightly, the USDA, I think it's 5%, 3% microbials are allowed in your medical cannabis. So if they start off with 10, they can put it through this machine and keep zapping it and take it down to 3 or whatever the allowed microbial thing is. Heating it, as you know, it breaks things down, breaks the cannabinoid, our secondary metabolite profile down. So that's not a practice that we can do. Restriction, processing. That's where a lot of the problems happens, is in the processing, all the microbes on people's fingers, skin, hair, everything like that in the atmosphere. It's very hard to have a very sterile, clean place to process your medical cannabis. So that's why, as long as you get the dry level down, make sure when you dry it, all the buds, so go to the biggest buds and test them, and they want to be 10% at the most, and then you've pretty much covered yourself. So you know when you seal it all up, your practices should be sweet. As long as it's not heaps of moisture has gone into your things that you're sealing things in with. So yeah, this is the ways to sort of lowering temp. These are the ways on how it works against it. I'm not going to go into them. Control oxygen, pH. Never heard of it? Oh, yeah. The minimum pH. Water activity level. Oh, this is what I was just saying before. Saccharomyces. Oh, it doesn't have Cerevisiae, is there? Oh, that's Staphylococcus. So some yeast, which is Saccharomyces, is 65. That's what I said. So they're saying some start at 60. So if you've got 60% humidity in there, moisture, there's a high chance if there's these spores, they're going to germinate. They're in the range where they can germinate. Same up here. Bacteria is generally higher, above 90%, but if it's about, see, 70, fungus, mold, and yeast is fungus. So you tell the difference between yeast has no little hyphae on top. It's flat, mostly, and maybe colourful. Actually, no, mold's pretty colourful. But mold has a little hyphae, those little tiny sticky up things. So mold can germinate as low as 0.7. And enzymes, look at that, they break down into that level as well. So for the minimum, actually, let's go into it. I've done a video on this. Combination technology, okay, hurdle technology, right? That'll do. Yeah, that's at the end. I hope that helped. Oh, there's a question. I'll stop sharing. Actually, it says the demonstrated antimicrobial activity. Antimicrobial activity against Streptococcus, Bacillus, and Mycobacterium tuberosus. Oh, THC demonstrated antimicrobial activity against. I think it's just a statement. THC demonstrated antimicrobial activity against. Oh, okay. JK is saying THC has demonstrated antimicrobial activity against Staphylococcus. All right, that's what JK. That's right. So yeah, to extend the shelf life of your post-harvest crop, that didn't really show any to do with hormones. It was mainly, yeah, the moisture. That's bananas. Is you can play around with your crops by ethylene. If you pick them early, ethylene is a gas that's released in senescence, and same with cannabis. Ethylene releases in senescence, and that can affect other things. So if you multi-crop, we're getting onto a hormone sort of topic now, but if you multi-crop and one crop's finishing this week and then everything else is still growing, that ethylene is a stimulation for secondary metabolites. You saw that before, and it can actually activate the defense mechanism. So it can pull a little bit of time out of the growth and development and go back into the defense processes in a plant if you've got too much of ethylene especially. Lene says, hence why we are so healthy most of the time compared to the general population. Yeah, that's right. Yes, medical cannabis people are it. Yep, I agree. And especially those people that get right into their oils and other constituents, like I like the topicals. It's just an all-round balance to know that we've got an endocannabinoid system in our cells and we can activate it. How rad's that? Oh, no, but the government can't make money. That's the only thing that's stopping it everywhere, is that they can't get their little cut out of it. But for health-wise, we can do it. And then decrease this, decrease all that. Yeah, that's what the government doesn't want. So I better not talk about that stuff. Yes. That's right. That's right. So the better secondary metabolites we can all have, the better we're all going to be. So by activating as much as you blooming can, I reckon you're going to be on the winner. That's where I main focus. I try and do. We know better. Lene says, yeah, we try and know better. We try, but sometimes legal plant amounts and stuff like that, yeah, it's very hard, and you get pathogenic problems or HLDVs going around, all sorts. So you're forced on rations, and you're forced to go and get street stuff, which is just so bad for you and doesn't have these secondary metabolite profiles activated because they want their yield. We know, yeah. JK says cannabis keeps the doctor away. Medical cannabis, I reckon, because street marijuana has PGRs growing in it, which is carcinogenic. People can grow it in heavy metal soil, which it can be absorbed into. And if you're extracting it, you might extract and absorb those heavy metals. So it's your growing practice is extremely important. And that's what I distinguish medical cannabis against street marijuana. So I don't like it when people call it marijuana, because that was given to by Henry Anslinger back in the day, remember? In the 1930s or something in the States. And tried to demonize it, yeah. But yeah, medical cannabis has got some amazing stuff in it. And it does blimmin' keep the doctor away. If you take it regularly, you'll find out from people. There's a study, what was that course? Oh, Cannabis Training University had a study in there from the Californian University that they did it on lung capacities. And they found out that frequent cannabis users increase their lung capacity, where it's been thought that it gives you lung problems and all that sort of stuff. But it's actually quite the opposite. So that was fascinating. Oh, look, 1 hour 40. This has been going for ages. Thanks everybody for staying on. Or we can do this again. Write in some stuff right now if you've got any things to discuss, because this is nearly one of the longest shows I've ever done. Not like there's cricket on today though, but still, I don't want to rant and rave and carry on with stuff that's not relevant. But I can do it all again next week. You can bring all your cool questions, like I hope Sunshine's there to ask and remind me about the senescence. I can elaborate on that, and yeah, we can see what else eventuates. Like today was a brilliant secondary metabolite one, and I much like this platform better now that it's in viewer questions and can sort of work with you guys and girls. It's heaps better. It's not really dominated where I'm just showing studies and stuff and you might even be interested. So it's, yeah, all good. Thanks for your nice words and support, guys and girls. Awesome show. Thank you. Thank you. And I hope you will be here next week for exactly the same time, and we can do it all again. And yeah, keep the spirits high, keep those doctors away, keep our health high. And if you want to transition to organics, bring those questions, because I'm really good with organics, compost, mulch, making your own, those types of stuff. Amending, it can really be done if you've got a little bit of space, especially if you've got space. Oh yeah, there's no excuse. Thanks everybody for watching. Look at all these cool people. Yeah, share your stuff. Good on you. We'll share the good energy. Thanks again, everybody. Hope you have a fantastic week. Bring questions next week. And what's the little spiel I say? Happy growing, happy breeding, and good health to you all. Bye-bye. See ya.